Hello everyone, welcome back to some more Total War Warhammer 2 multiplayer. This is going to be the Wood Elves versus the Skaven. For my army, we have 5 Eternal Guards, 1 Eternal Guard with a shield in the back because I just had a little money extra over, so we upgraded one of them to a shield, so they're super fancy. We have 3 groups of Dryads. I took 3 of these because they do emit a Fear aura, so I thought maybe that could help with the low leadership of the Skaven. You can see some Warp Lightning coming in here. So that's going to be our front line, 3 of those, and then the Eternal Guard. They are being led by Orion with all of his items. I think Orion is a really just solid lord in general. I like him a lot. He's really cool. He's much fun to take over like a generic flying, what do they call them? Glade lords? I really enjoyed those two. Anyway, we also have 3 Deepwood Scouts here in the back for our ranged contingent there. And then we are joined by a Spellsinger of Beasts on top of a flying mount because I wanted her to be able to fly into the back line of the Skaven and support our Vanguard deployment of our 2 Wild Riders whose sole purpose is to try and shut down whatever their backline is. I think these are stalking. Yeah, so right now I don't notice that they have 3 Gutter Runner Slingers with poison back here, but I do want to try and shut down their Play Call Catapult and the Warp Lightning Cannon. For the front line, we have 3 Skaven Slaves positioned out here in the front to take our charge. We have some Clan Rats behind them, and then behind those we have 2 Storm Vermin with swords and shields, 2 Rat Ogres led by Lord Skrawk himself. And then, of course, the Gutter Runners. And then way over here, we have a Skaven Slave, which I think was deployed in the corner to try and look for Vanguard deployment here, I think. Because they were deployed, like, right here. And I think they were even facing this way. But I did not Vanguard deploy in that corner. I Vanguard deployed over here. So we're going to be able to bypass the Skaven Slave. We're going to actually run right by them. There and there. We're going to try and collapse right here. I'm going to be sending our Spellsinger here of Beasts to try and, again, support our 2 Wild Riders. Meanwhile, our army is going to just kind of be slowly marching forward. We're going to be charging into the Skaven front line. Pretty simple. And then when we got their front line units tied in, we're going to try and target Rat Ogres and their artillery and then the Gutter Runner Slingers. We're going to try and target all of these with our 3 Deepwood Scouts back here. That's going to be my strategy right now going in. So here we go. We're going to be able to charge into these Gutter Runners with slings because I now see that they are there, for one, because they were stalking. So we're going to try to do some damage to them. We're going to try and also cast some beast spells over here, and then we're going to hit this Warp Lightning Cannon in the back. Fortunately for me, the enemy did not notice this one coming because they're too preoccupied with this Wild Rider, so we're going to be able to just wipe out these Warp Lightnings. In the meantime, Deepwood Scouts and army is advancing. We are taking some shots into some Skaven Slaves because I left them on fire at will, which is kind of a bad thing to do, actually, because you can see they're going to be wasting ammunition on the Skaven Slaves, which is not what you really want to be targeting, but they're on fire at will, so they're shooting the first thing that they see. So you can see that this group of units have managed to rout off one of our Wild Riders, but they will be back. But we did manage to get a clean kill on the Warp Lightning Cannon. We did do some damage to their Gutter Runners, some Rat Ogres, damage here and there as well. So that's an overall success. We got to spell off with our Spellsingers of Beasts. Our front line is doing pretty well. We have broken through these Skaven Slaves, because of course we have. They're Skaven Slaves. And now we are into their Clan Rats, lined with all of our Eternal Guard. We have the Master Orion up here going up the middle, trying to break the middle to try and get into these squishy bits right there. And front is doing pretty good so far. Wild Riders are going to try and help our left flank because we are kind of taking a beating with these Storm Vermin. So we're going to do a quick rear charge into these Storm Vermin with shields. Actually, maybe over here. Oh, they haven't even joined the fight yet. Sorry. We're doing a back charge on the Clan Rats. The Storm Vermin with shields haven't actually made it to the left flank yet, but they will be supporting the left flank here and here. I think I actually pull out my Wild Riders before they are able to collapse from the back, I believe. Meanwhile, our Spellsinger Beast managed to summon a Manticore. The Manticore is going to try and rout this play called Catapult. My enemy is going to be getting some forces right here back from routing, but I don't think they're really going to be using them. Probably because they didn't notice them coming back. Play called Catapult trying to shut down our Deepwood Scouts, who have in return helped to shut down some of these Gutter Runner Slingers with poison. They have also focused down some Rat Ogres, which I think is what they may be doing now. Or maybe they're on the Play called Catapult. No, actually, I think they're shooting into these Rat Ogres who are trying to stop the Manticore. Getting some support here with some Eternal Guard who managed to break through the Clan Rats that were right here, who have now routed. So you can see that the enemy is pulling back their second group of Rat Ogres to try and keep their Play called Catapults online. I'm not sure what I do with my Spellsinger of Beasts here. Just maybe drop another Flock of Doom over here or something. Wild Riders now coming back into action, again trying to rout this play called Catapult. The second Wild Riders, I think, did another rear charge or front charge on maybe these Storm Vermin. But the Storm Vermin are going to be bringing through our Eternal Guard here, and it's going to create gaps in our lines. So the Deepwood Scouts, actually I think they've already had to move because of Clan Rats being summoned or around the flank, but I've had to relocate the Deepwood Scouts, but they've done a lot of good damage to their backline over here. And again, some of their units are coming back from routing over here, but I don't know if they're, actually maybe they did notice, because the Gutter Runners are starting to throw some slings into the Wild Riders. But with the focus fire of the Deepwood Scouts, there we go, we have some summon clan rats on them. The Deepwood Scouts have managed to help with the Wild Riders in destroying the Rat Ogres. The clan rats can't really do much against Orion, who helped in the middle, but now he has pulled back to try and get into the Stormvermin because he does have armor-piercing damage, and that is actually going to be the end of the battle. At the end there, Lord Skrawk pushed up into the middle, but at that point, I could have dueled him with Orion, but I really wanted to try and support the left flank because those two Stormvermin were wrapping up our Eternal Guard, which is why Orion was over here, trying to bring a beating to them, but that is going to be the end of the game. We still had our Deepwood Scouts up there, our Wild Riders were still fine. Our Spellslinger actually took a lot of damage up through into melee at some point, I think, to stop some Gutter Runner or some Clan Rats from getting into our Deepwood Scouts or rear charging or something. But she was still alive and flying, and so we were in a pretty good spot there at the end. So good game to Yam. I like the Skaven slaves in front of the Clan Rats to try and absorb the charge, but I think they were too preoccupied with my Wild Riders in the back, because I think the purpose is Skaven slaves take the charge, and then you countercharge with like the Clan Rats and the Storm Vermin, so that you deny me my charge bonus, and we waste our charge bonus on basically useless units. Which is a good idea, but again, I think they were too preoccupied with trying to save their slingers and their artillery from the Wild Riders. I'm a big fan of Vanguard deploying units of any kind, be they dogs or elves on majestic reindeers, because it really tests the micro skills of defensive players. Defensive players typically seem to be less micro... what am I trying to say? They're not able to micro as well in a lot of cases. So if you can overwhelm their back line, they'll just be so focused on that, so you can kind of do whatever you want on the front line, which is kind of what we did here. We were able to engage the front line. We got the rear charges with the Wild Riders. We broke the Clan Rats pretty quickly, and our Deepwood Scouts kind of went unchallenged through a lot of that. They focused down the Gutter Runners, then they focused on the Rat Ogres, and it wasn't until the end of the battle until they finally summoned a rat to try and silence them. So again, with defensive formations, if you can get into the backline with some kind of Vanguard unit, even if it's just a puppy, you can kind of throw the game off of a player who already kind of has a strategy in mind to like, okay, I'm going to sit here, I'm going to target their artillery or their, whatever unit with my artillery, and we're just going to protect that. And then if you get inside that, then like the plan goes to shit. Because you saw like the Rat Ogres were kind of just pulled everywhere. The Gunner Runners were all grouped up in a tight formation, able to get sniped down by the Deepwood Scouts. Listen. This game is micro-intensive, and if you can ruin the plan of a defensive player, then, the aggressive player... I typically like to be the aggressive player. The aggressive player typically chooses the engagements and how the battle is going to go, because you're the one that's forced to charge them. You decide where your units are going to go. They have to respond in kind, and so I typically like to be the aggressor instead of the defender, because the defender has to react, whereas the aggressor gets to create situations, So anyway, sorry, I kind of went on a rambling spree at the end there. Anyway, hope you enjoyed. And let's go watch a cinematic view of Orion versus Skrawk. Majestic elves. I honestly don't know how much work the Dryads did. I'm assuming they did well enough. They have decent stats, and again, they all emit a fear aura. So they really cut into the low leadership of Skaven units in general. So I think they're a good pick. I know they also do magic damage, I believe. Not that you really have to worry about any wraiths that the Skaven are going to summon. For some reason, like, I actually clipped these Skaven slaves. I think I put these on, like, a predetermined path, and then I went to micro other things, and then I was like, oh, crap, you're about to run into some Skaven slaves for no reason at all. Made a quick adjustment there at the end. Ooh, nice little Tomb King thing in the distance there. Pyramids. Nice backdrop here. Wild Riders, I think, are a pretty solid pick against Skaven. Skaven typically are very low armored, and Wild Riders excel at killing low armored units very well. Look at those rats fly! Fly, rats, fly! Alright, now run! Run! Get over here, run! Look at Orion. Oh god, took a spear in the face. You probably shouldn't double up like this. That was just me mismicroing. You should definitely, like, I should have had the second Eternal Guard, like, tying up these or something. like the Orion's abilities going off in the Storm Vermin there. I was trying to predict where they would be, but I kind of intercepted them too quickly, so we didn't do as much damage here. Oh, there we go. For some reason, I put her down here to fight Rat Ogres. I don't remember why I did this. Probably shouldn't put her in melee against Rat Ogres. She may have gone there to fight Gutter Runners initially, then got caught there by the Rat Ogres. That's probably what happened. Oh. Sometimes the camera just like shifts very weirdly and quickly. What up, Manticore? Orion is so cool. Alright, that's gonna do it, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the battle, and I will see you all next time. Take care.